This is episode 75 of the Cafe Racer podcast for Saturday, June 13th. Happy birthday, Mom. I'm Crash.
I'm Steven. Nice, Chris. Nice. Where's the music?
Can you not hear the music?
No. Is it playing or not?
Yeah, it was. That's weird. All right, so we'll let everybody that's listening to this live, which is nobody anyway, can just assume that I'm going to put the music in post because I reset up my computer, and apparently Steve can't hear the music anymore.
It's all right. Maybe it was going out. I didn't hear it, but
if you couldn't hear it, I have no idea. Although I'm pretty sure it was going out onto the YouTube video.
It was.
But that is irrelevant.
Right.
Yeah, it was until I turned it off.
Yeah, man, I'm looking at myself in the screen, and my hair is really gray.
I can hear the video playing now. Where the hell is that playing from? Oh, I could. That's weird. So the episode just started, like, the live episode just started playing in a browser window over here.
You know, right? Yeah, I never.
All right, whatever.
It open because it makes it really hard.
Okay, well, this will be like a few seconds of going in and editing. So let's just pretend the music played. All right, well, so it's been a little while since you and I got together on an episode, it seems. I don't know how long it's been, actually.
It's been a while. I mean,
yeah,
and I feel really bad to everyone that's listening out there, you know, because you guys do kind of get people that support us through Patreon and, you know, expect a regular scheduled show, but the things that are actually life got in the way for a while. You know, between you and I and our schedules and how we work and being bi-coastal like we are, I know there's a lot going on, and I last week had a death in the family that wasn't, you know, directly immediate, but it affected some of my other family members, and I had to go spend time with them. And so, you know, we had planned on recording last weekend. It's just one thing leads to another every time for us, and it's difficult. But we'll try to keep a schedule as best we can. I can't promise that we're going to be here all the time, but you know, as much as you guys listening to it, we like talking about it, and we just haven't had a chance lately.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy. One of my adventures involved my Dodge Dakota, which I know is not a motorcycle, everyone. But calm down. This is actually kind of a funny story. So I was driving out to Yuma, Arizona, and from San Diego, which is about a 3-hour drive. And as I was leaving San Diego, my truck, a little warning light popped up on my dashboard, and it said check gauges. And, you know, that happens anytime one of my gauges on the dash would go out of, like, the normal range. And I looked down at the gauges and I kind of scanned, because my truck had a coolant leak already. So I was like, oh shit, maybe the coolant leak has gotten big enough that I suddenly have no coolant or something. I've been checking it regularly, but, you know, you never know. So that was the first gauge I looked at. Temperature was fine. Kind of scanned over, and when I got to the battery voltage, it was just like nothing. And I was thinking to myself, oh man, I really hope my alternator didn't just take a dump. And went to pull over to the side of the road and didn't have any power steering. And so at first I was like, yay, it's not the alternator. Because if it's alternator, if I have no current and, you know, power steering is out, that means that it's my belt, not my alternator. So I pull over to the side of the road, lift the hood. The belt's kind of flopped over to one side because it's been thrown off, and still mostly intact. You can see a little bit of, like, scraping along the edge, but it was actually, the belt looked pretty much fine. And I started playing with the pulleys to see, like, you know, why did this thing come off? And it turns out the tensioner pulley had completely seized. Like, I couldn't turn it with my hand, no matter how much force I put on it. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, I have to get to Yuma today. Like, this has to happen. And so I called a friend, she brings me parts from AutoZone, tools from my house, and I replaced the pulley there on the side of the road. Got down the road, got to Yuma, got back home that night, and everything was fine. Well, the next morning, and while I was waiting for her to come, it was about 45 minutes outside of San Diego. So while I'm waiting for her, I was like, yeah, I gotta get a new truck. I can't do this anymore, especially with these regular trips I'm going to be making. So went online, applied for a car loan, got approved for a car loan while I was sitting on the side of the road. I had already been looking at a new car anyway, so it wasn't like completely out of the blue. It just was kind of like, this is my final motivator to get me to do it. So yeah, got approved for the loan and everything. Well, the next morning, I go to work, and then when I went to leave to go pick up the loan check from the bank, I couldn't get out of the parking spot. Like, it kept chucking the belt off. And so I got an Uber ride from work to the bank because I had a free one. Then I got a ride from a buddy who I ran into at the bank to my house. And then I rode my motorcycle up about 40 miles, 30 or 40 miles north to Escondido, which is where I found the truck that I wanted to buy. And so, yeah, it was a kind of a bit of an adventure, I'll say that. And I bought a new Toyota Tacoma, which is really nice. Yeah.
That's funny because you and I had talked when I had the issues with my truck. We were talking about a Tacoma. They changed the body style recently, didn't they?
In 2012, they changed it a little. It's still technically second gen Tacoma.
Right.
So it does have a slightly different grille, hood, a few body panels. Next year, the 2016 looks completely different.
Yeah, because that was when I was considering, after the whole debacle with my truck, which turned out to be a lot more serious than you told me. What happened was this tensioner bracket bent, right?
Yeah, the tensioner itself. Well, the bracket was fine. The tensioner, because it's a base plate with a spring coiled up in there, and then the outer part is the tensioner that moves around. Well, when the belt when the tensioner pulley seized, it bent that spring, so like it no longer sat flush with the bracket.
So it was more than just a pulley replacement. You actually had to replace the whole arm and spring and everything to make it work right.
Yeah, it turns out, that was actually super simple. And the only, it took me maybe 45 minutes here in my house because the truck got stuck at work. Obviously, I couldn't drive it. A couple of days later, I used roadside assistance to get them to tow it from work to my house. And then last Saturday, I fixed the truck. And it still has a head gasket leak. It still has 2 oil leaks on the bottom and still has a coolant leak on the outside. So the thing is still not long for this world.
No, the truth of the matter is there's going to be somebody out there that wants it, even if you don't put it. Because we had a either a late 70s or early Chevy pickup truck. I don't remember, early 80s pickup truck that belonged to my wife's uncle that we had sold that had well over 300,000 miles on it. This thing was completely, it was a lawn truck is what it turned out to. And my lawn guy bought it for like $300. It was running, he pulls a trailer with it still. So he had to do a couple things to get it, more serviceable than it was. He put a battery in it and I think fixed the windshield wiper motor. But other than that guy's still using that truck. So there's all, it's just about what you think you want to get for it. There's somebody out there to buy something always.
Oh yeah. I've got a dump run to make that I don't really want to make in my new truck. If I can keep nasty crap out of the bed of my new truck, then I will. So
like me, I put a bed rug. Mine you could rent out as an apartment in the back. I got a bed rug in the back and a topper.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I have I don't know. Do you have a camper shell?
Yeah.
Or just like
it's not an actual. When you say camper shell, I'm thinking of like a slide-in RV type thing.
Oh yeah, not that thing.
This is just a topper, so it's the same height as the back of the cab. Matter of fact, when I first got it, it's so flush fitting. It's made by ARE that we're like, you look like you're driving a big black hearse. It looks like some sort of big SUV because it just fits perfectly. But yeah.
Yeah, I just got a tonneau cover, one of those like 3 folding tonneau covers, but I do have a bed rug in there, stuff like that. But
the bed rug is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I've actually spilled liquids and stuff in there and had dirt in it and just cleaned it out. It was fine. Brought back bales.
Yeah.
But anyway, what body style did you get real quick before this turns into a show?
So it's a 2015. I can screen share you one or whatever.
I really like the Tundras a lot, but now that
Tacoma.
the Tacoma, now that the Ram has a okay, so now I got them mixed up. The Tundra's the one that I like. That's the full size one, right?
Yeah, the Tundra's the big one.
Right.
I got the littler one.
Now that my entire top end of my engine is new,
yeah,
I'm not going to sell it. I'll keep it.
Yeah, you'll be driving that thing for a little while.
Another 150,000 miles.
So that's what I got.
Oh, yeah.
If you can see it, yeah, that's it. It's really interesting. You know, this is going to turn into truck talk for just a minute. Well, it has been, but it's interesting to me the things that they didn't include, like features that aren't built into the truck. Like, you know, every vehicle I can think of since friggin' early 2000s, including my old Dodge, locks its doors when you either put it in drive or start moving or get above a certain speed.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Toyota Tacoma.
Was it an option?
So, not that I'm aware of. I mean, a buddy of mine has another 2015 Tacoma that's, you know, because mine's a manual transmission, and I thought maybe like the manual just didn't have as many options, but mine's a TRD off-road with almost every option you could get except for the navigation.
Well, let me ask you something. Are you sure it's not a programming feature? Because in the Ram it was. I can turn mine off and on.
I don't think so, but I could check. I have no idea now that you mention it.
Yeah, like maybe the Avalanche too. I had a feature in the Avalanche where, you know, a certain press of the key fob would roll down either the front windows or all windows. You could program all that. And I know in the Ram there's a bunch of programmable features on there as well. Like the interior lights, whether or not they come on with a door. Like mine, when I lock the doors, it doesn't beep. You know, it doesn't give you that audible signal. That's all programmable. But you may be able to check it. Yeah, so I was telling you too, like I had to change a headlight in the Ram. When I had the Avalanche, you pop the hood up.
Not an option. System. Sorry. Yeah.
Stupid, honestly. Well, that was like the Mustang we had. We had a 5.0 GT convertible, you know, that was loaded, and there was stuff in there like no automatic headlights. You had to turn them on manually.
Yeah, I mean, that's like I think there's only speaking of headlights, there's only a couple of companies that really do the auto on and off thing, it seems like. And then the Tacoma, you can't leave the headlights on. If you drive around your headlights on all day, as soon as I open the driver's side door, the headlights turn off. So I just leave them on. Like I just leave the switch in the on position, and then when I get out of the truck, they turn off.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just saying, you know, when I had the Avalanche, changing the light bulb, just pop the hood, and there was like a little door you opened up behind the light, and then unscrewed, you know, quarter turn the bulb, and you were good to go. I had to like assemble the entire front end of the Ram. I had to take the shroud off, take the front grille off, physically take the light housings out to get to the back of the bulb. It was kind of ridiculous. But anyway, I digress. Back on the motorcycle topic.
I guess we could talk about motorcycles, eh?
It's been so long since I've ridden a motorcycle, I forgot what it's like.
I rode one just the other day. I rode to work for the first time in, it seems like months. I don't think it's actually been months plural, but it's probably been a month or more, like, you know, a month and a half since I commuted on the bike. And why the hell don't I do that every day? Like, really, I got to work happier. I got to work faster. I didn't have to sit in traffic.
Yeah, you know, my thing was just I've been driving the truck to try to make sure that nothing creeps up. That you know, since the work's been done. Plus, for us in Florida, when you're a Floridian, you don't go out in the summertime. You know, it's so friggin' hot right now here and humid that unless you're leaving really early in the morning, like taking a midday ride is unheard of. I haven't even been going to the range and shooting in any matches because it's been so miserably hot. With all the family stuff going on, I haven't had time. And the 10A actually needs, I think either this afternoon or tomorrow, I'm going to pull the starter out of it to see what's going on with the starter because it won't at all. And it's not the battery, it's not anything. And I'll get a bunch of emails from people. Oh, check the ground connection. On the 10A, the battery is the ground, or the starter itself to the frame grounds it. But there's there's nothing really there that's there's nothing there that I can see that's you know, other than the fact that there's a dead spot somewhere in the starter. So I'm going to pull the starter out and take a look at it and see if I need to replace it or if I can get it, if there's something I can fix in it. And then the Stelvio, I just haven't had time. You know, I'm going to start commuting again because I leave so early in the morning, but I really need to take it in for another service right now. I feel like maybe one of those connections underneath the where the exhaust crossover is just starting to leak again. That's twice now they've replaced it under warranty. There's a couple other little issues that are kind of getting to me on it that I'm thinking should be covered because the bike's still under warranty. That bike's got 2 years unlimited mileage, so it'll end in August. But the reservoir for the clutch fluid, since I got it, has weeped a little bit. When I first brought it to the dealership, they said, "Oh, that's normal," you know, and they checked it, but now it's starting to dissolve the paint around it, and there's some corrosion and everything. And I'm gonna take it back and tell them I want it replaced.
Yeah,
not at all. But yeah, man, having not ridden in a while is really starting to get to me. And tomorrow morning I may go for a ride. I know I got to take the Tiger out and photograph it. I'm going to put it back on the market for sale. So if there's anybody out there,
yeah,
a super clean, low mileage 2013 800 ABS Triumph Tiger in white with the factory tank bag and 2 seats, 2 windshields, and the engine guard, send me an email.
Yeah.
I'll make you a great deal. The bike's got, I think there's like 2,000 miles on it, and that's it. Well maintained. It's had all the, there was 1 recall early, but that's it. Anyway, so that's enough of me lamenting and crying about not being able to ride. What else?
Yeah. I haven't really, we talked the last time I was able to do a show about the big dent in my gas tank. And I did end up finding on eBay a new gas tank. It's not the right paint colors, but I found one. And I kind of impulse bought it and ended up sort of regretting that because I decided the dent doesn't bother me enough that I really wanted to replace the tank and have to deal with getting it painted.
Right.
Especially because the paint color that it is absolutely hideous. If it was like black or white or anything else like a solid color, I probably would have considered, I'll just replace it. But it's purple and silver. And
when did they purple and silver Bonneville?
It's only 10 maybe. It's from a Bonneville SE, so it has the same design scheme as mine. Like the top half is one color and it's got like the gold line that dips down underneath the knee area, and then the bottom is purple. And I got it, and I think I'm just going to put it back up on eBay because it's in great shape. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this tank. And just leave my tank the way it is until I finally get around to doing something major with it.
Yeah, I told you I bought that tank for the Le Mans. It just sits in the attic, but I didn't need it. It was just one of those things where it was on eBay dirt cheap, and I figured because it's good to have a spare. But I don't know if you don't. The tanks for the Bonnevilles are easy to find. If you don't need it,
yeah, they're super easy to find.
Yeah, and the dent probably adds character to the bike. You can tell somebody had somebody professional put it in there. So recap: the last thing I put up for the show was the ground shaking video for the Ace Cafe in Orlando.
Yeah.
We haven't had a chance to talk about that at all.
No, we haven't. So tell me about it.
It was kind of cool. And it was funny because I got invited to this an official invite through Ace Cafe, and I thought it was like something that they were doing for the press. Turns out I had a conversation with Steve Blum, their VP of marketing, and he told me a funny story that this was just supposed to be a photo op, is all it was. They were just going to get some people together, do some photographs for what was going to be like a ceremonial ribbon cutting, even though they didn't really do any ribbon cutting. That's all it was supposed to be. And because they've had so much going on with the city of Orlando, and they've worked so well, and Orlando's really gone out of their way to try to help them with the parking issue and everything, they called the mayor's office and said, hey, we'd like to invite the mayor to this photo op. And they kind of, Steve told me that he said to them, just to let you know, we're pretty casual here. We're not suit and tie guys. It's going to be like black Ace Cafe shirts. And I guess he asked them, you know, we kind of want to do something fun because we are casual. Can we sit the mayor on a motorcycle? And their response was, well, you know, I don't know. We don't really know if that's going to happen. Well, apparently they called them back and they said, hey, the mayor's like completely into it. Apparently he's got a motorcycle endorsement on his license and he rides and he's like totally wants to do this.
Nice.
So all of a sudden this thing morphed into this from a photo op to all these people calling Steve saying, hey, we want to be there. And, you know, I guess Cafe Moto Club got involved. They called the Vintage Iron Club. So there was probably, I'd say, he said 100, I think like 200 motorcycles and close to 200 cars there with the local car clubs that showed up. Plus they had food trucks and everything. Now keep in mind that the exterior of the building is the original building. They're not changing that, but the interior was completely gutted. Mm-hmm. So they're ready to start all the construction on the inside, and they gave tours on the inside. They had hard hats for everybody. They got like a little swag bag with an Ace Cafe t-shirt that had the date and said ground shaking on the back, which I thought was kind of cool.
That's cool.
It was really a good event, and the mayor like ate it up. Mark Wilsmore kind of did this whole thing with them where they did gentlemen start your engines, everybody revved their bikes and their cars, and it was really cool. So I talked to Steve this morning, and just an update, they're still looking at a grand opening of October to coincide with hopefully AIM Expo and Oktoberfest. You know, I know we harp on this, talk about it a lot, but if you have any opportunity and you can go to South Florida or Orlando area in October, try to make plans to go, because AIM Expo is becoming the premier motorcycle show in the U.S. now, blowing away the International Motorcycle, the IMS show. More and more people are signing on every day, like BMW, and I think Honda has signed on now too. And you're going to have within that Central Florida area Biketoberfest. So if you've never been to Daytona and you've never seen that event there, you have Biketoberfest there. You have the AIM Expo. And hopefully, either the grand opening of the Ace or the Ace will already be open at that point. So there'll be a lot to do, and it'll be a lot of fun. And it's kind of family friendly as well too. So you know, if you've got kids and you want to spend a day at Disney or Epcot or something in the Orlando area, that's available as well. So if you're a motorcycle or car enthusiast, we'll keep watching our stuff, and we'll be posting announcements as they come out.
No, definitely. I'm actually really hoping to be able to make it out to AIM this year.
Yeah, and we talked about that, and you know, you and I could do like a whole week of it as far as the Daytona Orlando Ace thing. You know.
Yeah.
So hopefully, and I know we're leaving to go to Italy the end of October, so I know Ace will be like the second week, or the AIM will be like the second week. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, me too.
The other thing I want to talk about is, and I know I'm probably going to get slammed for this, but I got an email from BMW.
Mm-hmm.
It's just their like regular corporate newsletter thing.
So just so everybody knows, AIM is October 17th and 18th of 2015.
So we will be good to go there. All right. So they sent me out this email that, like I said, is their kind of newsletter thing. And they've got something on there called a Concept 101.
I Googled this thing because you told me about it yesterday.
Right. This, to me, somebody, and now the more I look at it, it looks like a CTX 1300 and an F6B got together in Germany and pumped out an illicit love child. And while they were doing it, they were watching a video of a Victory Vision. What is this thing?
Yeah, I can see all of that. It's
no, it says a Ron Science design. I mean, I kind of like his style, but not this.
Okay, I'm going to be honest. There is. Are you still there, Steve?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Okay, it just got fuzzy for a second. Okay, so there's a picture of it online. I'll just screen share again real quick. This shot. Something about the front. This area, like the wheel, the front wheel, the headlight, and the the fairing around that. I like this part. I don't like the rear so much, but I do like how tucked in and tight all this stuff in the front is.
You there? You probably got to kill the screenshot thing. It's eats so much bandwidth up.
Oh. Well, anyway, yeah. So did you catch what I said or no?
Yeah. You like the front. Okay. Well, it looks like it's got a big front wheel, like the bagger front wheel on it.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. Maybe it's not. Maybe just because I think, like, people think the Cafe Racer thing is completely overdone and dead, and I think the bagger thing is overdone and dead, and this is a bagger. It's supposed to be a bagger, but honestly, if you were to put this and the F6B next to each other, I like the F6B better.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if they're actually going to build this thing or what the deal is, but I'm
not sure I agree.
Not really a fan of this.
Yeah, I don't love this. I don't love the F6B either, though. And yeah.
Oh, I didn't say I loved it. I just said if I had to choose between the two.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. Yeah. Anyway, some more news that came out of there is they were talking about the 1000 XR, which to me looks like another cross between a Multistrada and a V-Strom. But I'm looking forward to the chance of riding one of these. I'd really like to.
Yeah, that thing.
Huh?
I said, oh, yeah, that thing.
Right, that thing. When they had it, I went to the IMS show in Miami, and they had it sitting in the booth in red. And I think there's they make it in blue as well, but they had it in red sitting in the booth. And I took a double take, and I'm like, why is there a Multistrada in the BMW booth?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I just noticed too? Monday is ride to work day.
Oh, well, maybe I should ride to work then.
Yeah, I think I'll do the same thing. June 15th, ride to work day. But anyway, so they've got this, this kind of Multistrada. We talked about this before, of that sport ADV type genre, like with the MV Agusta and the Aprilia. They're not. I mean, I guess you could make an argument that the V-Strom kind of fits in the same class, sort of now, but these are more roadworthy type bikes. They really are sport bikes, but with relaxed seating and some adventure aspirations. I'm not really sure.
Go ahead.
No, they call it adventure sport bike.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like, the motorcycle industry kind of, and maybe, I don't know if we talked about this before or if it occurred to me before, but like they've kind of been following the same thing the car industry did. Like SUVs were, like Jeeps and stuff before, which were definitely more rugged and adventurous, and then they've kind of turned into these things that look slightly larger than a station wagon, but it's really just a station wagon. Mm-hmm. There's crossovers now,
right?
A lot of them, and like the same sort of thing is happening with motorcycles. We had the BMW R100 GS that was, a big ass rugged thing, and then now we've got the Multistrada, which is kind of a crossover between a road bike, just a sport bike for the street and a adventure bike.
Yeah, and I think where that direction's going, which is nice, is when our generation, my generation specifically, starts to age. A lot of us aren't tolerating the true sport bike genre as much. So for us, it's a little bit easier to be in that more relaxed seated position and kind of sit up.
Oh yeah, sure.
And you see that with a lot of guys anyway, going with helibars and relocating pegs and putting bags on bikes like Interceptors and like super touring bikes like Hayabusas and stuff like that, so they can stretch more miles out of their day by having a better. So I think you take some of these guys that are used to those sport bikes and then put them on something like a high performance Multistrada or the MV, and they're like, wow, this is great. I like it. Just the BMW, to me, I was really disappointed because it didn't look really unique to me. It looked like a blend of a couple other bikes. So that's why I really wasn't that impressed.
Yeah. I think I may have just figured out what our technical issue was earlier.
Whatever you did just made your audio 10 times worse.
Worse?
Yeah, way worse.
Strange.
Change whatever you change back. There you go.
Okay.
Now you're better. What was it?
That's really odd. just, to do a random technical thing in the middle of the show. Yeah, that's really weird, because that should have, right now it's using the microphone that's connected to my webcam.
Right.
And so like the microphone that's in front of my face is doing absolutely nothing except for going into the digital audio recorder.
Okay, well, it may have just been some mixer settings to clean up the audio, but when you went to your big mic, it really sounded like you were talking through muddy water.
Yeah, there's probably mixer settings. Everything got bumped around when I moved rooms with my desk and everything, so I'll have to figure it out.
So, talking about what we've been talking about with different types of motorcycles, some idiot on Twitter, some complete moron on Twitter came up with a new hashtag.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
That guy. And so there's been a lot of like talk in the media lately about how you identify as a human being. And there's a hashtag, transgender's gone around for a really long time. There's a big story out about, Bruce Jenner's transformation and all this. And then recently there's been a hashtag that developed a lot of gain called transracial, and how you identify, I guess, racially, And apparently that hashtag was hijacked from some adoption type thing. But either way, some idiot came out with the hashtag TransCycle. So, and I made a post this morning on Twitter saying that right now, I am now identifying myself as a sport ADV rider. So I want to be treated that way. Whatever benefits come with being a sport ADV rider, from now on, when I fill out an application for anything, I'm going to have sport ADV on there instead of cafe racer. So there it is. I put it out in public. Hashtag TransCycle.
Well, I really appreciate your bravery. Like it's taken a lot of courage for you to come out.
I should get an award from like the AMA for motorcycle bravery, right?
Yeah, seriously.
This whole thing is completely ridiculous, but I would like every one of you out there to spread the word about TransCycle, and please identify yourself. So the whole point of this ridiculous conversation is that we seem to identify ourselves as one type of motorcyclist as another. And I had somebody who was asking me about what show we did. We were talking about podcasts, and it came up. I'm like, yeah, I have a buddy of mine. Me and him, we do a podcast on motorcycles. Like, oh, really? What's it called? It's called the Cafe Racer Podcast. And they're like, what's a cafe racer? And I kind of explained it. And they're like, oh, I don't ride
the usual.
Yeah, I don't ride that motorcycle. I wouldn't listen. I'm like, we talk about all motorcycles. We don't necessarily identify with just that culture or that type of bike. And it seems like a lot of people kind of pigeonhole themselves or identify with one particular type. If you like to ride that type of motorcycle, that's cool. I'm okay with that. But it doesn't mean you're going to be excluded from certain events, because, well, there are some events out there that will specify American-made cruiser, and you can't go unless you're on American-made cruiser. But anything I've ever been to that had anything to do with, the vintage or cafe racer culture, yeah, you might not have been able to enter a bike in a particular contest that wasn't vintage, but heck, show up and hang out with people. It doesn't matter what you ride. That's the whole point of that, is that I don't care what you ride. If we've got to meet up at a gas station, we're going to go for a ride around the lake, and it's a bunch of ADV bikes. So what if you're showing up on a cruiser or anything else? Again,
yeah,
maybe an off-road ride, that's a different story, but that's the whole point of the TransCycle hashtag. So it was kind of a joke, because I got a little upset at all the other trans stuff that's in the media right now. So anyway, I'm TransCycle. Okay,
well, like I said, it's
everyone else out there is
very brave. It's a very bold move you just made.
Right.
So we got an email a couple of days ago from a guy named Daniel Kruger, and I'm only going to say this because I'm only saying his name because he said his name several times in the email, so I'm assuming we could say it. Anyway, hi Dan, thanks for listening. He says, first off, I'd like to thank you for a great podcast. I don't know what show you've been listening to, but I appreciate that you assumed that we were the good one. I have recently been looking into starting my own cafe racer project, and his experience is almost entirely in old muscle cars. This would be his first motorcycle. It sounds a lot like Dan Hounshell, who does the Ground Up Cafe Racer blog. He started out in muscle cars and started doing cafe motorcycles. He says he has access to a 1981 Honda CB900C, and I was wondering if it would be a good project. I looked up the bike, and I'm not going to screen share because it does really dumb things. But everybody, if you want to look up one, it's a Honda that looks kind of cruiser-ish because it's the C model, but I think that it might actually be a pretty good project bike, because then I googled CB900C Cafe, and there's a ton of them out there that look really good. So I don't see why not. Like I was a little concerned that the forks might be too raked out, but when I look at some of the other pictures of it, they don't actually look that far. The first picture I saw, I think the angle of the photo made the front end look too stretched out.
Yeah, and if that bike, there was a version of it that had like an all kind of metallic aluminum chrome type looking motor, which I always liked that look.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the megaphone exhaust at that time, and that bike's a shaft drive too, I believe.
Yeah,
but those were cool. It would make a good project.
I definitely think it would.
I kind of the mindset that if you've got a bike that's running and it's dependable and you know it and it's been good to you, and it's not some vintage bike that would be a sin to change or cut up, go for it.
Right.
Look, it's all about what you like, and as long as the bike's dependable and works, you can still get parts for the Hondas. The CBs were iconic, so
yeah. This thing, it's really similar in style to like the Nighthawks of the same era, like the 80s Nighthawks.
That being said, that project bike that I got, that 750, I've decided not to do right now. So
yeah.
Anyway, I got one more piece of news. I know we're kind of running a little long, but our friend Brianne Poland, she is now the digital marketing and social media manager for Royal Enfield North America.
Yay, Brianne.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. And Royal Enfield now, they don't have a distributor in the U.S. It's direct factory to dealers. So they've actually opened an office in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And she's official July 29th with them. So we'll be seeing a bunch of stuff coming out of Royal Enfield. They plan on doing a really big push in the United States. So maybe there'll be some new models coming out, new colors for the Continental GT. But I'm really excited about that. And that's kind of big news for us and the kind of bikes that we like.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that's what I got, man.
Okay. That's about all I got, too. As usual, you can find us on CafeRacerPodcast.com. Facebook is facebook.com/CafeRacerPodcast. Twitter is @CafeRacerPod. We have an Instagram that I lost the login information for, so I'm going to have to get that from you.
All right.
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram at Cafe Racer Podcast. I'm on Instagram at Cafe Racer X, but I almost never post any pictures. I just, go and like other people's pictures. Yeah.
I gotta get it today. Look at that.
And then if you want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/Cafe Racer Podcast. We've got a few supporters. And real quick, there's a short enough list of them. I'll just run them down. Ryan, Chris, Travis, Carl, James, and Robert. Thank you so much for supporting the show. With all the stuff that had gone on over the past couple of months between me and Steve, we kind of put the sticker project and everything on the back burner. We just haven't really gotten to it, but we do have a new logo that's currently in the works. And once that new logo is done, then we'll be getting stickers for our show and sending out the sticker packs that we've been promising for, it seems like, my entire life. But if you want to get in there before we finally get around to sending them out, then go over to patreon.com and support us.
We also have some when the sticker packs, when they do go out, for those of you who've been waiting for so long, I've been hanging on to some cool swag from some of our supporting companies, and I'll send that out as well. All
right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. And it's a pretty early Saturday morning show for me. So if I could, I'd get out and ride. But it's not just my mom's birthday. I got other birthday things for someone else to take care of. So it's going to be a fun day going to Dave & Buster's.
Cool. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
A party tonight. Also a birthday, 50th for a friend of mine. So we'll be.
Oh, cool. Well, everybody else get out and ride.
See ya.